On this week's episode of Wildcard, author Taffy Brodesser-Akner talks about the strange places we can find peace.
I've always felt safe when I was in motion. I think that being in transit is actually the only time you can stop. Like, I feel very safe.
I'm Rachel Martin. Join us for NPR's Wildcard podcast, the game where cards control the conversation.
Hello, hello. I'm Brittany Luce, and you're listening to It's Been a Minute from NPR, a show about what's going on in culture and why it doesn't happen by accident. Now that we're in the dog days of summer, and there's only about a month left, I wanted to know, have we established a song of the summer? You know, the kind of bop you suddenly start hearing everywhere.
It's what's on the wind. It's universal. It's playing from every club, barbershop, barbecue.
That's Sidney Madden, reporter for NPR Music. Over the years, there have been so many songs of the summer. Who could forget when Lil Wayne came out with A Milli in 2008? Despacito in 2017. Well, according to Sidney, it's not so clear-cut anymore.
We are more disparate and spread out than ever. That's why it's hard to chart a single song right now. You know, it's kind of like choose your own adventure more than ever.
When we talked about the song of the summer last year, we concluded that there wasn't one. That didn't mean the monoculture was dead. Taylor Swift and Beyonce dominated with their tours, but not with new summer releases. However, this year, we got a lot of new music and new contenders. So today, I'm joined by Sidney Madden, along with NPR music writer and editor Stephen Thompson, to talk about the songs of the summer. That's right, there may not be one, but a few. And each song tells us something a little different about our cultural moment.
Support for this podcast and the following message come from Wise, the app that makes managing your money in different currencies easy. With Wise, you can send and spend money internationally at the mid-market exchange rate. No guesswork and no hidden fees. Learn more about how Wise could work for you at wise.com.
The Olympic Games are underway in Paris, but you forgot to buy your flight to France. No problem. We've got you covered on Here and Now Anytime, a podcast from NPR and WBUR. Throughout the games, we'll keep an eye on the athletics and the intrigue outside the arenas. You're not an Olympic sprinter, but you can stay up to speed with Here and Now Anytime, wherever you listen to podcasts.
On Wait, Wait, we ask very well-known people about things that people don't know about them, like what was Malala Yousafzai doing when she heard she'd won the Nobel Peace Prize?
I went to my physics class. I said I have to finish my school day because when you get the Nobel Peace Prize for education, you have to finish your school day.
I'm Peter Sagal. For the real secrets of the rich and famous, listen to the Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me podcast from NPR.
This message comes from the Kresge Foundation. Established 100 years ago, the Kresge Foundation works to expand equity and opportunity in cities across America. A century of impact, a future of opportunity. More at kresge.org.
Sidney, Stephen, welcome to It's Been a Minute.
Thank you, always.
Thank you.
Now, I am excited to talk about these songs of the summer with you. I love these kind of bops. Like, I feel like they usually give me kind of like a fun carefreeness or just like a feeling of being outside, you know? And we're going to get into the many, many contenders we've got for Song of the Summer this year. Maybe, though, I'd start with 360 from Charlie XCX's album, Brat.
Yeah, 360. When you're in the mirror, do you like what you see? When you're in the mirror, you're just looking at me. I'm everywhere, I'm so Julia.
Which is an album we have talked a lot about on this show. Even though up until this point, she's been kind of a niche pop artist, this album is definitely in our cultural zeitgeist and now connected politically through Kamala Harris's campaign.
Yeah, exactly. One tweet, Kamala is Brat.
Solidified it.
As I said last week, my mom has been asking me to listen to Brat, and I'm like, girl, I do not know if that's for you.
You know what's intriguing about that, though, Brittany, is you're saying it's a pull for a feeling of being carefree and, you know, living up in the good weather, in the good times. But a lot of the songs that are let's say, contenders for Song of the Summer this year are the antithesis of that. Songs like Not Like Us, that is not carefree.
Totally.
Not.
Songs like Espresso, it's on its face trying to be carefree, but it's like, no, you're actually really obsessed with me.
And I got this one boy, and he won't stop calling. When they act this way, I know I got him.
Like a lot of the messaging of the Songs of the Summer, they have this carefree essence, but the themes are actually rooted in deep, blunt emotions. Brat being a great example of that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the whole thing sounds like it's just like club fun, partying.
Oh, yeah.
And then she's like, should I have a baby? Is this girl really my friend?
Yeah, I don't know if you like me. Sometimes I think you might hate me. Sometimes I think I might hate you. Maybe you just...
Like, at first I listened to the album and I was like, I'm really into this. And then I started listening to the lyrics and I was like, am I crying? Is it raining on my face?
Party music that makes you sad is such a great genre. Just like I'm into comedy that makes me cry.
Yes.
Sexy sad, yep.
Getting into discussion of the multiple songs of summer. I think there being different songs of summer, I think it's been kind of a good thing. It's been fun for me as like a music fan and as a music listener. It kind of has helped me to feel like I'm getting windows back into those segmented listening groups, which, you know, because we're all doing our own streaming, there are different summer hits for different people. I've been feeling like, oh, that's what everybody's been doing over there. Like one good example for me, a song that I had to go and listen to in order to prepare for this conversation was I Had Some Help from Post Malone featuring Morgan Wallen.
They say teamwork makes you dream work, and I had some help.
I wonder, what do you think that this song reflects about the moment?
Well, what I think it reflects about this moment is that country music is an enormously dominant genre in America right now. And this song for me is just like a perfect country crossover. It's a country song that I think is accessible beyond country audiences. It's a kind of a playful theme. It feels summery and silly. It is a song about being messy. It's a song about being a screw up.
It ain't like I can make this kind of mess all by myself.
It's a very relatable song without necessarily falling into the trap that a lot of country music, a lot of very mainstream country music falls into, which is just like a list of things I like. I like cold beer on a Friday night. You know, it's not just like it's written by an app, you know?
No, there's like some emotional resonance to it.
Well, you know, I heard the song and one of my first thoughts was Post Malone is Brat.
Yo, that could be a whole nother remix that would probably do really well on a deluxe.
Probably do numbers.
It would do so well.
They got to work it out on the remix together.
But outside the social experiment that is Post Malone, I feel like just watching and listening to country a little bit more acutely than I have in years past, country music is gaining so much popularity. It's also becoming such a lightning rod for politics in a way, again. In reference to a lot of other songs that were big last year, like Jason Aldean, Try That in a Small Town.
We'll try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road.
Or there was that other song.
Oliver Anthony, Rich Men North of Richmond.
Yes.
Rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control.
It's tied to identity in a politicized way, but I don't really see, even though it's gaining so much more space in the mainstream market, I don't see these names that we're talking about in country really doing anything that revolutionary. I think that was a big point of what Cowboy Carter was trying to theorize on earlier in the year when Beyonce was making basically a whole dissertation of long boiling resentment of how country music is a black birth art form and it got commodified over generations and decades to mean something else.
They used to say I spoke too country, then the rejection came, said I wasn't country enough.
And something like Shaboozie's A Bar Song.
There's a party downtown near 5th Street. Everybody at the bar getting tips.
Also occupying the space at the same time as a Morgan Wallen song and breaking records on the Billboard charts. I think that's much more of a revolutionary.
And also Shaboozie himself kind of benefiting from the Beyonce effect of Cowboy Carter. He was a featured artist on Cowboy Carter.
That's crucial.
Out to the moon, outlaws women, they gonna show, keep the code.
And is having this huge moment himself right now.
Exactly. I feel like that's a much more intriguing and exclusive and unique story happening in the country space this year.
I want to move to another artist trying to make your song of the summer, Miss Sabrina Carpenter. Miss Sabrina Carpenter. She's got 2 hits on the charts right now.
Yeah, she got options.
She's giving us options. And both of those, honestly, are doing really well. I think they could both be contenders for a song of the summer. One is Espresso.
So you can't sleep, baby, I know. Does that mean espresso?
But also, Please, Please, Please. You spoke earlier about Espresso. It seems like a very sweet song, but it's really about like letting somebody know that you peep that they're obsessed with you. There's a lot more fervent emotion below that song than in the lyrics than what it initially sounds like. And I also hear that with her following single, Please, Please, Please.
Please, 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 don't bring me to tears when I just did.
I want to know, what do y'all think? How do y'all feel about Miss Sabrina Carpenter in these 2 songs?
She's playing this year really, really smart because these 2 songs that we're talking about, they're both off of the forthcoming album of hers, Short and Sweet, which is due out in August. So that's going to be kind of like the punctuation of her summer. And then it's going to spearhead and ricochet to her going on tour. But yeah, exactly. Brittany, I think it's so smart how the songs are cheeky and frothy and cute. She's giving like coquette who's going to steal all your credit cards and your identity, right? And it's speaking to the potency of her songwriting or whoever her collaborators are in this songwriting because it's the art of the switch up that plays really well with the TikTok generation. Like if you're trying to tell a story with a piece of audio and you want kind of a twist ending or a conflict, it's like, oh, cinnamon roll, who could kill you? You know, that's exactly what she's giving you, saying heartbreak is one thing.
My ego's another. I beg you don't embarrass me.
Like she's singing it so sweetly, but it's also a threat and a promise, you know?
Yes. And also, too, I mean, you talk about her playing it smart. I can't necessarily speak to her intentions or to the, the machinations of her relationship with Barry Keoghan, who is her boyfriend right now. But, I mean, he's kind of known as a little bit of a wild guy. And her releasing this song, Please, 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 about like being in love with somebody that maybe you're like 90% sure about, but that last 10% is really sticking out like a sore thumb. And you're just like, whatever you do, please don't embarrass me. Like, also her putting him in the video, it's so smart. You get to benefit from like the halo effect of his fame and like the fame bubble that your relationship creates. But you also get plausible deniability. Later down the line, if it doesn't work out, you could just say, look, it's kind of like with Ariana Grande and Thank You Next. It's clever and also a little cynical in a way that I think people are connecting with. Coming up, we're talking about a massive breakthrough artist that Steven sort of had a hand in pulling up.
This summer on Planet Money, we're bringing you the entire history of the world, at least the economics part. It's Planet Money Summer School. Every week, we'll invite in a brilliant professor and play classic episodes about the birth of money, banks, and finance. There will be rogues and revolutionaries and a lot of panics. Summer School, every Wednesday till Labor Day on the Planet Money podcast from NPR.
Want to maximize your summer without stretching your budget? Life Kit's got you covered with guides on exploring your neighborhood for cheap.
Don't let money or time be the thing that decides whether or not you will have fun. You can have fun almost in spite of those things.
Make the most of every day this summer, whether you're jet setting or staying close to home. Listen to the Life Kit podcast from NPR.
If you think the economy makes no sense right now,
you are probably right, because even economists can't explain it lately.
But our podcast, The Indicator from Planet Money,
we're a little dose of clarity on the biggest economic questions of the day.
And about the forces that affect your life.
In 10 minutes or less, every weekday, The Indicator from Planet Money from NPR.
Hey, I'm Robert Smith from Planet Money, and this summer we are bringing you the entire history of the world, at least the economics part. It's Planet Money Summer School. Every week, we'll invite in a brilliant professor and play classic episodes about the birth of money, banks, and finance. There will be rogues and revolutionaries and a lot of panics. Summer School, every Wednesday till Labor Day on the Planet Money podcast from NPR.
And we're back with NPR Music's Stephen Thompson and Sidney Madden, talking about the songs of the summer, from the likes of Post Malone to Sabrina Carpenter.
I mean, one thing that's really interesting to me about Sabrina Carpenter is she fits in with a little bit of a mini theme, which is the overnight sensation who's been doing this forever.
Decade almost, yeah.
Like Shaboozey.
Sabrina Carpenter has been around for a really long time. She was a Disney Channel personality.
Yes.
She's put out a bunch of albums. And like all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, she just came out of nowhere with this frothy song. And it's like, no, she has been figuring it out for years and years and years, and this is the year that all of the component parts came together. And that is also true of another name that I cannot believe we have not yet mentioned, Chappell Roan.
Chappell Roan. Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, I can name so many of her songs that have really popped.
She has 6 songs on the Hot 100 right now.
I know. I mean, and it's wild because like, I remember when her Tiny Desk came out, and I had heard some of her songs. I really liked them. But seeing this moment happen for her, to be having a moment that reminds me really of like Lady Gaga in like 2007, 2008, where it was like, hey, there's this like, this cute girl doing all this weird stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, kind of fun, kind of strange. It's something that to me felt very unexpected. But Stephen, I mean, I know you helped set up her Tiny Desk concert.
I booked that Tiny Desk.
Yeah.
I produced that Tiny Desk.
Yes.
I have been eating lunch off of that Tiny Desk concert for like 6 months now. It has bought me so much credibility with so many of my friends.
Wait, talk to me about how you think her songs have really broken through, because I mean, to me, she seemed primed for niche pop fame.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I look at the trajectory of her career, I just think, and first of all, like, again, another person, she's been at this for years. She got dropped by a major label. She was like signed to a major label as a teenager. Some of these songs on this album have been out since, 2020, 2021. Wow. If you watch her videos chronologically, watch her interviews chronologically, you see her slowly, piece by piece, putting together the persona that blew up in 2024. Influenced by drag artists. You see, like now she kind of performs with these like the big red wig and the what kind of white face paint and the smudged up makeup and stuff. That was like built piece by piece over time. Mm-hmm. And then in 2024, all of the pieces of that coming together. And a lot of people do point to that Tiny Desk concert as a big catalyst for some of the growth, but that Tiny Desk concert dropped as she was touring with Olivia Rodrigo. And where that record for me really seemed to fully take off was once you started getting into Pride Month. She and Charlie XCX really helped soundtrack Pride this year.
Yeah.
And Pride just felt big this year because it had so many mainstream pop tie-ins. So now, I'm just fascinated to see how much bigger she can get. Something is still happening. She is somebody people are still discovering. I love to see it. I love new faces.
Same. I am loving the new energy. There is a song this summer. It was birthed into a moment that was created by 2 feuding artists. I'm talking, of course, about Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar.
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
I was at a family member's elementary school's end of the year, like summer barbecue or something like that. And they were playing Not Like Us. Like the kids know Not Like Us. And I'm like, you're too young to even know who Kendrick Lamar is. How do you know this song?
That's wild. That's so wild.
But also, cherry on top was played at a church conference my parents went to down south like a month ago.
Not since the song Blurred Lines was played at a daddy-daughter dance I attended.
Oh my gosh.
Has there been such an odd placement of a big hit?
Yes. I mean, the thing is, though, is that like this song has penetrated every single possible event and setting, even though it has a very distinctly...
Very West Coast.
Very West Coast, very specifically like LA, Southern California sound. It's not like a straightforward kind of boppy summer anthem.
It is not carefree at all.
No, it's thorny.
Talk to me about what is setting Not Like Us apart and what's making it connect with people so much.
Yeah, I got a lot to say about this one. It's the exact antithesis of what you would think a song of the summer would be. It's, like you said, Stephen, it's thorny and it's so targeted at one person. But the ricochet effect is everything that we're talking about. It's united the West Coast in a funny way. I've seen it used as wedding entrance music. In my research, it's the first hip-hop diss song to go #1 on the Billboard charts, which is a big deal for a lot of different reasons. But again, I have to bring up the content of the song and the context that it's living in so much, because the song is about the accusations, I should say, of Drake grooming underage girls and keeping people in his camp that do the same thing. And the timing of that is especially ironic because of this spotlight that is on hip hop right now when it comes to sexual assault, when it comes to sexual coercion, with everything that's happening with the Diddy allegations and the fallout of them. This song is in response to a Drake previous diss where Drake is accusing Kendrick of domestic violence. And I just feel like we're also negotiating our own complicity every time, or maybe we're not. Maybe we're like suppressing it a lot just by singing A minor. Are we really coming to terms with what this means? And that's like the sad reality and honestly the normalization that happens all the time in hip hop.
Like you said, there are all these conversations happening about Diddy and all of these allegations and the videotape that we could see of him abusing Cassie in a hotel hallway. It feels like, there's lots of people looking back now on the moment that allowed that kind of abuse to continue. I think that in a few years, maybe 5 to 10, people might look back on this moment and Not Like Us and feel similar regret. So we will see what happens with that. But yeah, it's been interesting. This whole summer, I feel like so many of the songs that I've been connecting with people have been exploring or expressing dark or sad or hateful emotions. But there also have been some classic summer songs. I cannot have this conversation without talking about Nasty by my girl Tinashe.
Nasty, I've been a nasty girl. Nasty, I've been a nasty, nasty, nasty. Is somebody gonna match my freak?
Is somebody gonna match my freak?
That's the question we've all been asking this summer, okay? I'm gonna tell you something. I've been in the trenches as a Tinashe fan, okay? For like at least a decade, maybe 12 years, I would say at this point. To see this huge breakthrough moment happen for her that I don't think we've seen, at least from a charting perspective and a streaming perspective, since the first single that she put out, I believe in 2013, Too On. People still play it at the club to this day. Nasty is perfectly danceable. The lyrics are easily repeatable.
Oh, yeah. It's quotable. It's not just memorable, but it's quotable.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. Like, it's got like that great summer message, which is I'm hot.
Right.
Like, that's what the song is about.
I'm outside. I'm here. Cuffing season has not commenced. I'm ready.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And it's like, who's coming? Who's coming to meet me? Like, who's going to take me out?
Yeah.
I think it fits thematically with several of the other songs we've talked about.
Exactly.
This is a song about being hot and chaotic.
And it's from an artist who's put in years of work at the building blocks.
Yes, and fits into that as well.
And found their sound and really ran with it. I think the song itself hits the perfect balance of being slinky, but also like methodical or like robotic almost. I've been a nasty girl.
She's got a new album coming out called Quantum Baby.
See, robotic, slinky, quantum baby.
You got it. You got it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how, she continues to kind of ride this moment. We've seen so many different themes across so many different genres of music this summer. And I think one of the biggest ones is seeing artists who were either previously niche or long loved by their most ardent fans and supporters finally have these huge mainstream moments after years of grinding it out. I am mostly just happy that after this back and forth between Taylor Swift and Beyonce, that both of them seem to have, even though they have both released music this year, it almost feels like culturally they both have stepped back. All of these other artists and musical moments have been able to flourish. Sid, Steven, I couldn't have imagined two better people to talk to about the song of the summer. This is so much fun. Thank you both so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, always.
Thanks again to NPR's Sidney Madden and Stephen Thompson. You can find more of their work at npr.org. This episode of It's Been a Minute was produced by
Liam McBain,
Corey Antonio Rose.
This episode was edited by
Jessica Placzek.
Engineering support came from
Zach Coleman.
Our executive producer is
Verilyn Williams.
Our VP of programming is
Yolanda Sanguini.
All right, that's all for this episode of It's Been a Minute from NPR. I'm Brittany Luce. Talk soon.
New from the Embedded podcast. Elite female runners are being told they can't compete because of their biology.
Not only can you not compete, you're not actually female.
Hear about the 100-year history of sex testing in women's sports and the hard choices these athletes are facing now. Listen to Tested, a new series from CBC and NPR's Embedded podcast.
You can't bring every book you own with you to the beach, so how the heck are you going to choose what to read this summer? NPR's Book of the Day podcast has got you covered with author interviews from across the NPR network. You can find the right book for your next summer read. Listen to NPR's Book of the Day podcast wherever you get your podcasts.